Good evening. It's Wednesday, June 24, 2026. We're discussing farm attacks and farm murders for May 2026, where the results for the month was 9 attacks, no murders, but we did, however, lose 7 people. That was out of the definition. That is mostly in the rural regions. We'll discuss that in a bit. Compared to May 2025, 14 attacks, 3 murders. Let's look at the armament that was used by the attackers: blunt object 0, sharp object there was 1, but that attack was disqualified because of certain reasons. We'll discuss that in a bit. Firearms were used in 4 of the attacks. Multiple weaponry, that's firearms and sharp objects, in 2 attacks. And then unknown, there were 2 cases where the armament of the attackers were not specified, and then also one of the attacks was out of definition. Let's have a look at the provincial breakdown. As you can see there on the screen, Gauteng region, 2 attacks. Northwest province, 2 attacks. There was one that was averted. Then Limpopo, 2 attacks. The one that is averted there, noted as averted, is really not an attack. It's extraordinary circumstances, and when we get to it, we will discuss that. For Mpumalanga, 1 attack and also 1 attack that was averted, which was actually totally out of definition. Free State, KwaZulu-Natal and Eastern Cape, nothing to report. And then one of the reasons why this video is so late is the Western Cape. I did say in the Western Cape on a video that was circulated on social media on the 7th of June that the Western Cape suffered 5 attacks in 10 days. But it was an actual fact, when you looked at all the figures, it was 10 attacks in 14 days. And for the purpose of this video, we will only be discussing the last 2 attacks. That was on the 27th and the 29th of May in the Western Cape. Then lastly, the Northern Cape, also nothing to report. Outside of definition, there were 3 murders that fell out of definition, and then rural en route, there were 4 murders. Coming up, a look at the different cases. First of all, the 2 cases in Gauteng were both in the Gauteng West area. That's the area immediately to the west of the capital of Pretoria. May the 12th, 2026, a property was breached by cutting through a fence at the back of the property and breaking through a wall. The man was assaulted, but he managed to key the panic button. Green light security responded and perpetrators fled through the fence back in the direction of Zamazama. Then on May the 28th, an 81-year-old male victim was working at his desk in a detached dwelling, working when 3 perpetrators broke into the dwelling through a big window in the lounge. After the attack, he yelled loudly until the noise of the dogs roused the family, who went to assist him. We slide over to the Northwest province, where on May the 5th, 2026, in the De Wild area, according to the report, the dwelling was breached by an unknown group of perpetrators. They were not really interested in available valuables, but tried to breach the safety gate in the passage leading to the bedrooms. Now, this could have meant that they were after the safe, which might have contained firearms and cash. Residents called for assistance, and the perpetrators fled the scene. There was some debate as to whether this qualifies, but one needs to take into consideration 2 factors. There was definite intent as they tried to breach that security gate, and also, what would have been the consequences had they actually been able to breach that security gate? We move over to the Mooinooi area, which is close to halfway between the town of Brits and Rustenburg. On May 19th at 95 farms in the Mooinooi area. The guards did not check in for 2 hours, and a Romeo Mike team went to investigate. The guards were found at the back of the premises, tied up with cable ties. The suspects had fled already in a white single-cab pickup truck with an unknown license number. Stolen items included 20 meters of electrical cable and a medium-sized generator. The 3rd case was the one that was averted. That was on May the 24th in the Potchefstroom area, where 2 unidentified perpetrators are noticed while they tried to gain access to the dwelling through 2 doors leading to the inside of the dwelling. Services were alerted and responded One perpetrator was arrested inside the property while the others fled. We travel north toward the Limpopo province, where on May the 7th at the Letamong school in the Mokopong area, that is also known as the town of Naboomspruit, the Ponga security was called for assistance after an armed burglary at the school. The workers were woken up by 4 armed masked intruders. Suspects used an angle grinder to open the steel gate and the safe, taking items of value before fleeing. The fence was cut to access and allow escape. Spoor was followed to the tar road where it was suspected that the robbers were picked up. Tools and laptops were taken. The second case was on May the 16th, and this is the one that I said earlier, which was an extraordinary case. Services were called to the scene where the wife of a farm worker was threatened by a single perpetrator with a knife. It was alleged that he tried to rob her of food. This attack cannot be listed as the perpetrator was regarded as psychologically impaired. Then the worst case in the Limpopo area was on May 27th at the farm Immerpan at Zibedela. Now, Zibedela was many years ago known as the biggest citrus farm in the southern hemisphere. 3 perpetrators wearing balaclavas, of whom at least one was armed with a firearm and others with knives, entered the dwelling where the victims were. A shot was fired before cash was demanded. The victims tried to flee and both were shot in the upper torso, then bound. They searched the dwelling for other valuables before fleeing with a cell phone, a pair of sneakers, and a bottle of cooking oil. Victim 1 managed to free himself and went for help. Both were hospitalized in a serious condition. Services were called and search for suspects got underway, but none was produced. The 2 cases at Mpumalanga, we're going to start off with the averted case, and some of my colleagues listed this, but in fact it was a mere housebreaking because there was no potential for human harm. And this perpetrator was caught by the owner opening and closing drawers, searching for valuables, and his only intent was just that, stealing valuables. Then the next one, the big one in Mpumalanga, May 11th at Baaikraal, which is close to the town of Delmas, a family of 6 was assaulted and tied up with electrical cord before being robbed. 4 perpetrators, one with a handgun, were dropped off by a white Ford Ranger pickup truck. The security gate to the dwelling was broken off and the wooden door forced open. 1 male victim was seriously assaulted and taken to hospital. There was an attempt to steal a Mahindra pickup truck, but that was unsuccessful. Various valuables were looted and loaded onto the Ford Ranger. It was intercepted and chased to Itwatwa, which is the town of Springs, where it was abandoned. Cell phones were traced and followed up, but no further information could be obtained in this case. For the Western Cape, we're only going to discuss 2 attacks. Those were 2 that was actually well published in social media and also newspapers, and the first one being on the 27th of May at the VGK Farm Church on Kloof Road. The perpetrators waited for Mrs. van der Merwe in the kitchen, and when she walked in, told her to stay quiet. The family was then tied up with belts and other materials the perpetrators could find. They were robbed of personal belongings, and after the perpetrators could find no firearms in the house, told the family to kneel on the floor. The victims thought they were about to be executed, and they told the perps they could take whatever they wanted. They were even given the vehicle keys. The family were then locked in a bedroom, and the perpetrators fled the scene. They freed themselves and called for help. The SAPS and other services were on scene virtually immediately. Searches were done with a drone but produced nothing, and fortunately nobody was injured in this case. The second case was on May the 29th at the farm Rustenvrede in the Stellenbosch area. The Roos couple were outside their house having a barbecue, and Michelle Roos was speaking to her parents on the phone when the dog started barking. 4 men wearing balaclavas and thick gloves, of which one was armed with a firearm and another with a crowbar, suddenly stormed at them. Michelle managed to tell her parents that they were being attacked before they were overcome, and her witnessing her husband Gideon being thrown on the lawn. She was robbed of her earrings and wedding band, Before they were bundled into the house, the perpetrators ransacked wardrobes in search of valuables while shouting, "Money, money, money." Their wallets were emptied, and when asked, they were allowed to keep their IDs. They were tied up, and the moment the men left the room, they closed the door and pushed a chest of drawers in front of the door and activated the panic button. Michelle managed to untie her husband, and they waited for security, who arrived in virtually minutes. These two attacks are only two of what was reported in the past 4 weeks of this same area. And I'm sure if we dig deeper, then we might find others as well. But one of the reasons that the attacks are sort of smothered is because the people are scared of the impact it might have on tourism in this area. There were 3 murders outside of definition, and the first one I'm going to discuss with you is that of Adrian de Tooy, who went missing on May the 4th, 2026. And his body was found in a shallow grave on a farm near Cramond in KwaZulu-Natal. Large amounts of cash were withdrawn from his bank at the time, and he was last seen at Arbor Arch Mall in Clarendon. He was involved in upgrades on the N3 freeway near Pietermaritzburg. The second one was well published, and there was a sad twist to this, as there were family members that was involved in this. Now, the photograph you see on the screen is of an area that has been known for more than almost 150 years as Kruger's Corner. Kruger's Corner is also where the boundaries of Zimbabwe, South Africa and Mozambique join up, and that's also where the Limpopo River flows into Mozambique. And there was a lot of shady things happening in this area, hence the name Kruger's Corner, which was also a popular hiding spot for crooks in the early 1900s. Ernst and Dina Maree, 71 and 73, respectively, was ambushed and stabbed on May 20th at a remote scenic lookout, and that which is Kruger's Corner, in the northern section of the Kruger National Park. When they failed to arrive at the Pinda Maria rest camp that evening, a search was launched. Their bodies were discovered in the Vuvu River by tourists the following day, May 21. And if you have followed this on social media and also in the papers, you'll see that this turned out to be a very, very big case in the background. This incident wraps up the farm attacks and murders for March 2026. Like I said, rural en route, which is out of definition, was 1 attack and 4 murders. And we can never say that things like these never happen, but it did actually on the night of May 14th, when 4 people were shot by an unknown number of assailants along the R26 between the towns of Tweeling and Reitz in the northeastern Free State. Whether it by vigilante or whether it by organized crime, we would never know. The suspects fled in a green Mercedes-Benz and a white Honda bearing Lesotho license plates. 4 victims were declared dead on scene, while a 5th victim was transported to hospital in a critical condition. These 2 questions were often asked in the past 6 months to 9 months, especially with the involvement of President Trump and him, that's a year about, and him lambasting the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa about the White Cross Monument. But does that influence really have an impact? Are murders on the decline, like so many people have alleged publicly in the past also about a year? These 2 questions are often asked, and we don't have answers really for that, but let's have a look at the numbers. The first graph I'm going to show you is the farm attacks and murders for the 5-year curve that starts in 2021, and we see there up top there 262 attacks with a loss of 51 people, dipping down to 166, 43 people lost, climbing up again in 2023 to 193, with 50 people murdered, and then down to 162 for 30, and at the end of 2025, 190 attacks and 23 murders. Now, where we sit at this stage in May 2026 is 16 farm murders, and I'm not sure, I think it's just close to 70 attacks. And it's only the half of a year, so that we can if we want to extrapolate those figures, we can say 16 plus 16 for the next 6 months, the probability of losing 16 more people is there. And the probability of adding 70 plus attacks to the already existing 70 attacks, that's going to bring us to 140 attacks for 2026. So then we can't really say, if we look at this orange line, 54 in 2021, 43 in 22, 50 in 23, 30 in 24, and 23 in 25, we can't really say that murders are actually becoming less. The attacks also are bouncing up and down between 262 in 2021 and for 2025 down to 190, after it's been in the lows in the 160s for the 2 previous years, but even though not consecutive. Let's have a look at another graph. The graph on top is the farm attacks for 2024 to 2026, and the one at the bottom for farm murders 2024 to 2026. That's the last 2.5 years. For January 2024, we're looking at 8 attacks. For 25, 15 attacks. 24 attacks. And for 2026, 15 attacks. Then it dipped down a bit, and then in March, 27 attacks. And if you look down in March, you'll see that we were sitting there with 6 attacks, and then another one more in April, and then dipping down to 0 in May. If you look further on in the attacks, on the top graph, you'll see in October, 29 attacks for 2025 and only 19 attacks for 2024. If you look at the bottom, October, 6 murders, and that was for 2024, and then for 2025, down to only 1 murder. So it's difficult to say whether it's on the decline. If you look at the graphs, those are the figures. And it doesn't say that murders are actually going down. And to prove my point in this is that there are certain circumstances that we must take into consideration before we can say there's a decline in farm attacks. Let's have a look at this one. Now, the next set of numbers, or the next graph, indicates the amount of commercial farmers in South Africa. In 1986, we were sitting with roughly 100,000 commercial farmers, and it dipped down in 10 years to only 43. In other words, the amount of commercial farmers dipped down with more than half. Then it dipped further down to 35,000 in 2021, and then currently in 2026 we're sitting with around about 28,000 commercial farmers in South Africa, which is going to feed this nation. So if you look at the attacks only, you'll see that the number of attacks, the attack numbers for the past 2.5 years are virtually one line, with the murders bouncing up and down against the ceiling and the floor. And you go and compare that to the amount of attacks versus the amount of farmers that is available, and consider the losses over the past 2.5 years, then you need to decide for yourself. I know what the answer is. We're sitting with the same amount of attacks and just about virtually the same amount of murders as last year, the year before that, year before that, year before that. And the critical thing here is that the target has shrunk in the past 40 years with 75, almost 75%. So the target is much smaller, but the rate of attack and murders are virtually still the same. Leave me a comment in the comments. That's it from me with regards to farm attacks and farm murders in South Africa for May 2026. I've been doing this for 3 years. The first video I produced was very primitive. That was in June 2023, and for that month there were 12 attacks and 10 murders. Some of those murders very gruesome. Over the years, the road has not been very easy. Was working with this every day of your life, accumulating these stats, sitting in meetings, verifying stats, doing other things that is related to farm attacks and farm murder videos that I produce every month, working through cases over the years. It's not been easy. If you experience these things on a daily basis, it does get to you. Starting off in 2023, a lot of things was not part of the budget. And I think where I am now, there's still going to be a lot of other things that's not going to be part of the budget. But, as I said in the beginning, very primitive. Thank you for everybody that has helped me with the improvement of the quality of my videos. Thank you to everybody, all of you that were sticking with me from 2023, patient with me, watching each and every video, commenting, liking, subscribing. Thank you for each and every subscriber. There's not a lot of you. I don't have millions of subscribers, but I am grateful for each and every one of you. Then like I say, if you go through these things, it's not always easy, and there's a lot of work that goes into a video like this. And then you look at the figures or the views on YouTube, and you think to yourself, why? But I cannot stop now. I won't be discouraged. And there's been a lot of people that has been encouraging me to continue with this work, even though it gets a bit trying at times. But if you look at YouTube's figures, I know the topic is not one of the most popular. Nobody wants to watch a 15-minute video of death and bloodshed, and probably why. And I think, and I'm being honest, I think YouTube is limiting or is shadow banning my numbers. And it's possible. But I know this video gets out. If 200 people watch this video, then I know 200 people knows about what happened in South Africa during May 2026. I don't budget a certain amount of views. There's a lot of other people that's getting a lot more views. They're getting 2,000 views in an hour. So I know the message is getting out. And thank you to each and every one of you that subscribed, that liked, that commented. I think I've said it again already. And distributed these videos amongst your own social media groups, wherever you were or are in the world. Thank you. I appreciate you that you are taking note of the plight that the farmers in South Africa are sitting with, and not just farm attacks and farm murders, all sorts of other statutory stuff that is being caused at our farmers. Expropriation without compensation, the firearms control laws that is, or proposed laws, the water laws that is being proposed against the farmers, the foot and mouth disease fiasco that we had in South Africa, the diesel prices that we're battling with, and a lot of farmers have said that it's too expensive for them to plant. And that creates a problem in itself, because it is a threat to food security in South Africa. And now you have 28,000 farmers roundabout that needs to produce food, put food on the shelves for almost 70 million people in South Africa. Now, if you go and have a look at any shop, except for the electricity area and the hardware area, there's a lot of stuff. There is not a lot of stuff, so I rather say, that does not originate from a farm. Each and everything that's edible on the shelves, whether it's for a parrot or whether it's for your budgie, whether it's for cooking or baking or just consuming a good, nice, hearty meal, it comes from a farm. And it's the case worldwide. So once again, sticking with me, thank you to you. And please distribute this video so that the plight of our farmers can be made known throughout the world. Thank you so much.